are you? I hope you always healthy. Welcome to my channel. In this video, again, I would like to talk about the moon on flat earth. This is the truth. I will tell the truth. It's painful, but better to get hurt by the truth than comforted with a lie. Before I start it, remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon on my channel if you enjoy. And also, share this information to your family, your friends, and everyone. I can't speak, I had speech disorder. So, I am sorry to use robot voice on the video. Many people complain about this. But now, I had buy a better speech software with good voice. I also put the text on the video, so you can read them if you're not comfortable with this voice. So, here we go. The moon lights itself. We are told that the moon reflects sunlight, and this is the only reason for its illumination. Here are some facts. 1. Sunlight is gold and yellow, moonlight is white and blue. 2. The sun's light is drying and preserving while the moon's light is damp and putrefact. 3. The sun's rays can put out a common fire while the moon's light will increase combustion. 4. The light of the sun falling upon certain chemicals produces a change of color, such as photographic processes. The light of the moon fails to produce the same effect. 5. The sun's light when concentrated by a number of mirrors, or a large lens produces a focus that is entirely non-luminous, but the heat is so great that metallic and alkaline substances are quickly fused, earth and mineral compounds almost immediately vitrified, and all animals and vegetable structures and burned and destroyed in a few seconds. 6. The moon's light when concentrated produces a brilliant focus, so luminous that it's difficult to look upon it, and yet there is no increase of temperature. 7. In direct sunlight a thermometer will read higher than another thermometer placed in the shade, but in full, direct moonlight a thermometer will read lower than another placed in moon shade. The sun's light, when concentrated by a number of plane or concave mirrors throwing the light to the same point, or by a large burning lens, produces a black or non-luminous focus, in which the heat is so intense that metallic and alkaline substances are quickly fused, earthy and mineral compounds almost immediately vitrified, and all animal and vegetable structures in a few seconds decomposed, burned up and destroyed. The moon's light concentrated in the above manner produces a focus so brilliant and luminous that it is difficult to look upon it, yet there is no increase of temperature. In the focus of sunlight there is great heat but no light. In that of the moon's light there is great light but no heat. By Dr. Samuel Robotham, Zetetic Astronomy, Earth not a Globe. Light which is reflected must necessarily be of the same character as that which causes the reflection, but the light of the moon is altogether different from the light of the sun, therefore the light of the moon is not reflected from the sun. By David Warlaw Scott, Terra Firma. Close to the new moon phase on either side, one can sometimes see most of the moon faded whilst a slither is illuminated. So, what is illuminating this more faded part of the moon above? It is dark up there. We should not be able to see this portion if only the moon's edge was lit by the sun. When we see moon at night, it is lit up, illuminated, but when we see the moon in day, even with the sun in the sky too, it is not lit, but a matte cold stony gray. The sun is lit in day and gives light. So, why not the moon if it is reflecting the sunlight? Why only at night? If I shine a torch on a rock, it lights up in day. What we are told from repeaters, teachers and scientists, doesn't make sense. Phases of the moon are just different portions of the moon's self-illumination, but the phases are highly probably linked to the sun. Note, the sun revolves above us once every 24 hours, and the moon revolves above us about once every 25.25 hours, the sun chases the moon. The phases of the moon are related to, actually, caused by, the relative positions of the moon and sun in the flat Earth sky. For example, new moon always occurs when the sun and moon are very close together in the sky. Full moon always occurs when the sun and moon are at opposite positions in the sky, which is why a full moon rises about the time of sunset, and sets about the time of sunrise. First and last quarters occur when the sun and moon are about 90 degrees apart in the sky. On the day of the new moon, this image is a day or so before the new moon. Remember that the sun is chasing the moon, so to speak. The moon rises when the sun rises. It sets when the sun sets. It crosses the sky with the sun during the day. That's why we can't see the new moon in the sky. It's too close to the sun's glare to be visible, but the moon stops illuminating and it doesn't shine. Then a day or two later, the moon reappears, in the west after sunset. Then it's a slim waxing crescent visible only briefly after sunset, what some call a young moon. A waxing crescent, almost a new moon, is seen only very briefly after sunset. This is because at waxing crescent, the sun rises immediately before the moon rises, and then the sun sets immediately before the moon sets. Therefore, right after the sun sets and the sun's glare fades in dusk, the very slim crescent, nearly a new moon, becomes visible, and then the moon shortly thereafter sets. And can't be seen for the rest of the night. If the sun's glare wasn't so bright during the day, you could see the moon with this slight crescent all day long. But you can't. However, at dusk, when the sun's glare fades over the western horizon, the slim crescent appears. It doesn't appear because it comes up above the horizon, but only because the sun's brightness fades into the night. But watch the waxing crescent into night, and you will see it quickly set below the western horizon, and it won't be seen again until the following dusk. A waning crescent, almost a new moon, is seen only very briefly before sunrise. This is because at waning crescent, the moon rises immediately before the sunrise, and then the moon sets immediately before the sun sets. As a result, right before sunrise, in early dawn, the slim crescent moon, almost a new moon, rises in the east. It appears as it rises above the eastern horizon, before the sun rises. However, you can't see it very long, either, because then the sun rises, and the sun's glare is so bright, it overwhelms the slim glimmer of the waning crescent. However, it is still there, and is there in the sky all day long. And finally, the moon sets first over the western horizon in dusk, not to be seen. And then the sun sets, to a moonless night almost all night until right before dawn, when the waning crescent rises to be seen again. Maybe the sun drains the power of the moon, and when the moon is close to the sun it loses its power, illumination? The closer to the sun the moon gets, the more power, self-illumination, it loses, and when it is very close it loses its power, self-illumination, completely, and becomes what we call a new moon. Maybe there is a handshake of energy between the sun and moon's energy, be that spiritual pranic energy or electromagnetic energy. Many though think there is another object in the sky. I will go into these notions deeper in later chapters, but let us digress and note one thing here. Venus and Mercury also have phases. Mainstream science tells us again that these occur due to the sunlight's angle to, which we now know is impossible. Venus and Mercury are both, at times, in front of the sun and behind the moon. This makes them very small, and also makes them around the same distance from us as the sun and moon. Maybe Venus and Mercury's altitude varies slightly, or the sun and moon's altitude varies slightly, or maybe all of these objects' altitudes vary slightly. One or more of these have to be true. Maybe Venus and Mercury also self-illuminate according to their distance from the Sun? Note that the Maya were obsessed with Venus transit cycles for their cataclysm calendars. Once in solitude in a meditative state many years ago, I watched the full moon all night. The sun was nowhere to be seen. I felt then intuitively that the sun doesn't illuminate the moon. To conclude this chapter, remember this for later: if the moon self-illuminates, then it also self-de-illuminates. They are both the same thing. So a waxing moon, the clever, good people of the flat earth community believe, is the moon self-illuminating, as they rightly should, but these people cannot believe or think that the moon self-de-illuminates on a waning cycle. Remember this notation for later, for it will become important. From what we know thus far, the moon's phases have nothing to do with shadows from the Earth, or shadows from different angles of sunlight. The moon self-illuminates. We were crazy and a little stupid to ever think anything different.
The Earth is